Come on in, sit down, let's get going. We'll get to what you really want. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out to our monthly meetup for real estate, commercial real estate mastery. Tonight we've got two guest speakers with us. All right. Thank you for coming out tonight, especially on such a hot night. Everybody make sure you get a drink, stay nice and cool. Tonight we have some people talking about infinite banking. They can provide you some amazing services. So Erica Neal and David White of Infinity Investment Strategies. Sorry, think about it. I got it. So they're going to be our guest speakers tonight. They're going to talk for about 20 minutes, and then they're going to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions, and then after the Q&A, we're going to do what we all came here for. We're going to network, meet new friends, meet new partners, have a drink, hopefully find some deals, and make some lifelong friends. As usual, I am one of your hosts, Rob Nicester, along with Yoshi Asano, David Turner. Online, we have Nick De Leon. And Daniel's our audio video guy. He does an amazing job. And Juan Yang, who's actually in Korea for a little while. But we've come together for the past over a year now, put together these meetups, and it has grown and it's been amazing. So I want to thank you all again for coming on out. If you do not know us, that means we do not know you. Before you leave tonight, we would love to get to know each and every one of you. So please come up and introduce yourself after they're done talking so we can say hi and get to know you. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Erica and David.
All right, thank y'all. So like I said, my name is Erica Neal. This is my business partner, David White. We're co-owners of Infinity Investment Strategies, and tonight we're going to talk about how you can become the bank. And one of the main things to understand, and I think most of us realize this, but the most powerful, the most profitable industry in the entire world, that's the banking system. And so what we want to do is we want to say, hey, instead of giving our money to a bank, allowing them to go out and leverage it and go out and make the money and go out and be in control, well, why don't we just create our own private bank, our own account where we can take back control of our money, make money on our own money, and leverage it for our own benefit as opposed to an outside entity. So we're going to recapture the interest. Instead of allowing a bank to do it, we're going to bring that money, power, and control back into our own compound interest curve. So we're going to focus on how do we make that happen tonight. Perfect. And we're going to go through some frequently asked questions. Who is Infinity Investment Strategy? So like I just mentioned, David and I, we're co-owners. We are authorized infinite banking practitioners. So this certification comes from the Infinite Banking Institute. You go through this whole program, mentorship, education. You go through all the learning modules. There's a proctored exam at the end. But the point to this is, at the end of the day, our license, they monitor all of the policies, all of the accounts that David and I put in place. Because if we were to start to stray away from or move away from how infinite banking is supposed to be designed, we could essentially lose our license. So this is a monitoring regulatory program that actually makes sure we maintain the integrity of what the infinite banking strategy is all about. We both have traditional financial planning backgrounds. I come from the retirement planning, pension fund management space. David actually worked on Wall Street with, stock trading, derivatives, and going through all of these different worlds in the traditional financial planning space. What we found was the finance industry is very focused on one thing, which is AUM, right? They want to get as much money in their house, assets under management, as possible, and they're going to preach getting the best rate of return. What finance industries don't teach you is how to create cash flow. That's one of the biggest areas that we found a shortage in is, hey, you can put your money into an account and you can get a good rate of return, but how much work, how much income, how much cash flow is your money going to be able to create for you? And that's where it's lacking. So we ended up leaving, and now we focus on strategic planning and designing these infinite banking accounts. So we also have Brian Castillo. He is our business manager, an angel from heaven, to be honest. We have a lot of clients here, and y'all know like Brian is like the best person on our team. But he couldn't be here with us tonight, but he also has experience in the traditional financial planning space. But across the board, we're here to strategically plan, educate, and service our clients on the back end. So we're ready to move on. So how do banks make money? Well, like I mentioned, you're going to go to the bank and you're going to deposit money with them, okay? Then what are they going to do? David deposits money with me, I'm a bank, and I turn around and I loan it out to Rob. I'm going to make 7% off of Rob, and I'm going to pay David 0.02%. So this transaction happens over and over and over. Let's not even consider fractional reserve banking and all those other levels. This is just one level of this transaction. And we'll move on to the next slide. Throughout this entire process, let's think about something. Who gets to use the money? Who gets to control the money? And who gets to make the money the entire time? The bank. So who do we want to be in this scenario? Let's be the bank ourselves. Let's bring that back into our control. So we're going to move on. Now, where should I be putting my money, right? There's this savings dilemma. And again, we come from the financial industry, and it is very much a my daddy can beat up your daddy space, right? Like everybody's better than the other guy. But what we have to understand is there's no good tool, there's no bad tool, there's just certain tools for certain jobs. So if I gave you a hammer, and I said, is this a good tool or a bad tool, what would you say? It depends. I don't know who said that, but perfect answer. What are you trying to accomplish? So we need to figure out what are we trying to accomplish with our money, and that dictates the tool we need to use for that job. Banks are pretty self-explanatory. That's short term. People put money in there because they're safe, right? I put that in quotations for a reason. They're liquid, but there's really not any growth in that account. So we need to use the money within the next 0 to 12 months. Otherwise, we're losing money due to inflation, okay? On the other end of the spectrum, we have our investments. So people put money in investments. Again, this could be real estate, business, stock portfolio, 401k, whatever. We're hoping to get growth, but we have to acknowledge that investments carry risk. They're not safe, and they're also not liquid. So this is money that we have to be ready to set to the side for 7 or more years. So we can either put our money into an account that we need to use within the next year, or lock it up for 7+. There's a huge gap here in the middle, and I think most of us in this real estate investing space feel it. Well, what about money that I might need tomorrow, but I need it to benefit me in the long run as well? So that's where we're saying, okay, let's do all of the things that aren't being addressed yet. I'm going to give myself the ability to earn guaranteed growth, and I'm going to definitely outpace what the banks are doing. My money needs to be safe, so when I go get it, I know that it's there. It needs to be liquid, so I don't want to pay taxes, penalties, fees, any of that jazz to get to my money. It needs to be tax-free, right? We'll throw in some tax benefits, and we're going to make it private. I'm really going to harp on that here in just a minute. But the point is, we use the vault, we use IBC. All of these terms are interchangeable, but essentially what we're doing is we're using a specially designed cash value life policy, and we're going to maximize the IRS tax code. If y'all are ever bored, there's a whole tax code dedicated to this, but we're going to maximize what the IRS allows us to do, and we're going to take full advantage of that for our own benefit and for all the compound interest and everything that we're going to talk about a little bit more. But the point to this is, none of these are better than the other, right? This is not a competitive. This is like having a hammer, a saw, and a screwdriver in your financial toolbox to do different things for you and your money. So we'll move on to the next one. So why is it called the vault? Why are these policies being referred to as the vault? Well, think of a vault in your garage or basement, right? You can put money in when you want. You can take money out when you want. Who knows how much cash you have sitting in your vault at home? Nobody, right? It's yours. It's completely private, secure, and safe. It is nobody's business. So Warren Buffett actually came up with this term because these policies function very, very similar to a vault and a safe at your house. The difference is we're going to be earning compound interest and dividends. So we'll move on to the next one. So how does IBC work? Well, we're going to take one of these cash value policies. We flood it with cash, right? The point of this, and when we're looking at these policies, we're focusing on the cash and the IRS tax benefits. We're going to use that cash, leverage it to go out and invest in whatever you want. You can do oil and gas, Bitcoin, new development, single family, multifamily. You can go to Vegas and put it on black for all we care. It doesn't matter. It's your money. Use it how you want, and you're going to leverage it to go out and get your rate of return. So I want to point out something here. Notice that your rate of return and accumulation is whatever investment you're doing. I know I'm seeing a lot of faces here. I've known you guys for a long time. You're killing it in the real estate space. Keep it up. Do your thing. Go on with your bad self. You go make your money out here. We're going to keep your money safe, protected, and never disrupted on the compound interest curve while you go do your thing. So we'll move on to the next one. So what are the 4 pillars of infinite banking? Meaning, if I take infinite banking and I plug and play it into the rest of my system, what benefits am I going to get from it? Well, these are what we call the 4 pillars. We're going to be able to lower taxes, increase your control, increase leverage, and lower your risk, okay? So we're going to go into each one of these a little bit more in detail. Now let's talk about lower taxes. Now, like I said, I come from the retirement planning space. I'll tell y'all, I saw more people paying more taxes in retirement than they ever did while they were working, right? Because all they did was defer, 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 defer. That is not a strategy, that's a trap, okay? It's no mistake that these 401ks are designed to take $25,000, $50,000 and defer taxes for 20 or 30 years. So when you take IBC and you're investing with these types of policies, number one, take full depreciation benefits of any real estate or business deal you're doing. Full depreciation, cost segregation, all of it. Front load it, take as many tax benefits today as you can. You're also going to be able to, as you're borrowing against these policies, write off additional tax deductions and lower, right? It's a straight line deduction today that you're going to be able to write off against your current tax liability. Now, your money is earning, growing, and compounding, getting dividends, all of those things, right? Throughout your entire life, when you're going and buying properties and doing your thing, you're going to use all of your money and the growth completely tax-free through the loan strategy that we're going to take a look at. A little bit more. Now, there's no UBIT. Has anybody had to deal with UBIT? Right? It's the unrelated business income tax. So this is something that if you've used a self-directed IRA, long story short, don't go make too much money and you're going to get an additional tax on your money. There's no tax filing. These policies don't have any UBIT. It is also, right, everything I think we're doing today, all of us are building up as many cash flow assets as possible, right? One day we want to sit back and let our money work for us. These policies are no different. When we get to a point where we're ready to kick back and sip margaritas on the beach, these policies become one more cash flow arrow in our quiver, and it will spit out a guaranteed tax-free income to you for the rest of your life. And then lastly, we have a tax-free generational wealth transfer. So this is the most efficient way to transfer wealth. So much so, they wrote a book about it called What Would the Rockefellers Do? So if anybody knows anything about generational wealth, it's those guys. But the point is, this is upfront tax benefits, during your life tax benefits, retirement tax benefits, and after you pass tax benefits. So we'll move on to that. Now we're going to increase control because let's be honest, all of us, we're here for a reason, and we're all control freaks. So hi, my name's Erica, and I'm a control freak, right? We want to take back control of our money, meaning there's no questions asked when you go to access your money. I say no. There's 2 questions they're going to ask you. How much do you want? Where do you want it sent? Not what are you doing? Where are you going? When are you going to put it back? Any of that. You also dictate your own loan repayment schedule. So do we have any lenders in the house? Way in the back? Yeah. So as we love lenders, we're going to continue to use our lenders. This is one more arrow, again, in your quiver that allows you to take out a loan and pay it back whenever you feel like it, right? Now, there's benefits, there's adjustments that we can make, and obviously we're here to help you strategically plan for that. But we've seen a lot of people, we had a developer that was building out a neighborhood. He was supposed to take about 12 to 18 months. It took him almost 3 years to finish this project. He did not make a single policy loan payment the entire time because he's the banker and the borrower. He gets to make those rules. You also get to access the total amount of your cash value without surrender charges. We don't play games. It's your money. You can have it. Move on to the next one. You also get to choose your contribution limits. Everybody always wants to know how much does this cost? And that's like asking how much does a house cost? Oh, how much do you want, right? You can buy as much or as little as you want. These companies have paid dividends for over 150 years, meaning they've been profitable for over 150 years. And not only have they been profitable, their projections are incredibly reliable. They are either hitting or exceeding their projected dividends. I looked at the last 50 years, and they've either met or exceeded their projected dividends every single year except for 2. The 2 years they missed it by 0.5%. So it's incredibly reliable when you're looking at these maps and you're looking at these ledgers that we're going to be able to predict what our business is going to look like over this period of time. Now we're going to lower risk. Now, real estate's great. We're real estate investors. We're business owners. These are great assets to have, but there's no such thing as a silver bullet, right? There's always wealth eroding factors out there that we need to protect against. So your money inside the policy is guaranteed to grow. There's no market correlation at all. So if the market goes down, your money goes up. Market goes up, your money still goes up. When does most real estate opportunity tend to present itself? When the market's down. So we are protected against that. We're not going to have to lock in losses to take advantage of a real estate opportunity. You're also protected from the IRS and creditors. they cannot seize the cash in this policy. Okay, Texas 100% protects all of your money in here from being seized. Now, the companies we use are A+ rated, meaning they have a minimum 100% reserves on hand. So if every single person wanted to get their cash, they would have the liquidity to be able to do that. There's no restrictions on the access to cash. So if you want it, again, there's no questions asked. Here you go. And then, of course, we're also protected from lawsuits. We all know it's a sue-happy world. It could be a clumsy tenant, mad investor, right? You could, we were talking about traffic on the way here. I could rear end somebody and their neck hurt a little bit too much. They can sue me, my house, my car, my dog, but they cannot sue me for the money inside of my policy. We'll move on to the next one. Now let's talk about increased leverage because, this is our favorite word, right? Leverage. You're going to be able to increase your liquidity and net worth because 100% of the cash value in your policy goes towards your liquidity and net worth on your PFS. So if you're a KP or an LP and you need to show that you're accredited, or if you're a GP trying to sign out a loan, you use this on your PFS. You can also shield your assets as non-disclosed. If you don't want people to know, remember, shut your vault door. It's nobody's business. These loans are completely private, so nobody knows. It's just between you and them. Nobody has to know. We're also using non-recognized loans, which means you're going to continue to earn interest on your dollars, even when you have the money out working for you in an investment. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. I'll give you guys an example of that. So if you have a bank account or a self-directed IRA, that means that when you have $100,000 and you take out 70, you're only earning interest on the 30,000 left over. That's not good or bad. It just is what it is, right? But if you have become your own banker, what we're going to look at is we have that 100,000, but when we take out 70, we're going to take that 70 out as a loan. I'm going to loan that to myself. There's a simple interest rate attached to that loan, right? But remember, we're writing that off. I go out and get whatever rate of return I'm going to go get. Remember, you know how to do that. The difference is when you pay and you're putting money back into your policy, you've been earning compound interest and dividends on the full 100,000 at the same time. So we're doing what Robert Kiyosaki says, giving $1 multiple jobs. We're leveraging our cash, we're investing in real estate, but we're continuing to earn interest and dividends on the same money all at the same time. So we're giving ourselves additional rates of return. We'll go ahead and move on. I want to stay on time. So why do investors choose us? There's a lot of people out there that we've worked with, especially the real estate and business owner space. But David and I combined, we have 33 years of combined traditional financial planning experience. Again, we come from very different worlds in the financial industry, but that really helps us when we're taking all the pieces of your puzzle and putting it into one beautiful strategic plan. We are on an independent platform, which means we are not tied to any one company, okay? We partner with multiple Fortune 500 companies, and we often will pit them up against one another to say, hey, this is our client, who wants them, who's gonna give us the best offer. We've even had clients that we want to go with company A, but company B gave us a better rating. So we take it to company A and say, hey, if you want the business, you gotta match it, right? So we're leveraging that for our clients. Like I mentioned, we are authorized infinite banking practitioners, so we've been licensed, we've been certified, and we're regulated on that. They are making sure that we maintain that. But this is something where we really truly understand the strategy, and even more so, we're doing it ourselves. And that's one of the big things that David and I talk about. We specifically work with real estate investors and business owners because that's who we are, right? We don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. We are in deals. We are going out and buying real estate. We're doing multifamily, Airbnb, short-term rentals, hard money loans, storage, RV resorts, right? All of these various things, we're in that with a lot of our friends, clients, partners, all of those things. But I think the biggest value add that we've gotten feedback from many clients is that there's people who understand infinite banking. There's people who understand real estate. So David and I have fit this niche to be able to provide services and understanding on bringing those two worlds together. And that's where we specialize, is helping people understand how to make these asset classes work together. And so that's our specialty and that's our design. Mira, I hope you watch that.
Infinite, right?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Erica or Drew?
What's the IBC stand for? Is it the IUL?
Oh, good question. IBC stands for Infinite Banking Concept. So we're not typically using IULs. We're using A-rated, mutually owned companies that offer whole life policies that pay guaranteed interest plus dividends. Because, like we mentioned, we want to make sure that regardless of what the stock market does, our money's going up. IULs are going to be tied to, that's one of the things, but they are tied to the market. So if the market goes down, those cash values go down. We want to leverage and hedge against that. Any other questions?
somebody who doesn't optimize the way they do, they're going to try to sell it away.
Yeah, so great question. One thing though, real quick, why do I get the lipstick on a pig vibe from this toilet seat video, I swear. No, but the whole life policies that are traditional, they don't really leverage or utilize the rider that's put on that the IRS allows to overfund the policy. So they're more of a long-term asset. They have their role in different types of, like maybe a volatility buffer for income later on, or a legacy play, different things. But what we utilize is the IRS allowance of, hey, front load this policy early, because the quicker we can front load the policy, the more access to cash we have right away, and the quicker we can compound the cash value over time. So the more dividends it earns later, the more it's kind of like, I don't know if you know how a rocket takes off, but a rocket burns 70% of its fuel just to leave the atmosphere, and then it coasts the rest of the way. But the atmosphere is the smallest part of the journey, right? But it needs that inertia to break through. So we're kind of giving rocket fuel by utilizing the IRS code to overfund early, stuff it with cash. Once it breaks through the atmosphere, the thing is coasting, it's rocking and rolling, and we can leverage it all along the way with the growth that we force. Well, so there's a cost to owning the asset. So for example, in year one, you put 100,000 in, you might have access to 70 or 80, right? So you have an acquisition cost to owning the legacy part of the product. But year two, you might have 95% of your new cash. Year four, you're dollar for dollar, and then you're taking off from there. So it's an accumulation fast, but up front, you have some cost to owning the legacy, right? An insurance company is not going to give you $1 million death benefit, for example, and then give you all your cash back to go use. They wouldn't make money. So it's not really a con. It's just that everything has a cost, right? Everything has an acquisition cost. So overfunding it the way we do, we overcome that acquisition cost pretty early.
A lot of the traditional policies don't even break even until like year 12. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and that's,
And also, a lot of traditionals don't have the format around lending the way that we set them up. The ability to lend at a non-direct recognized loan, meaning the loan is separate from your cash. It's where your cash still earns, so it might actually be recognized. There might be surrender charges or not being able to use the cash for a long time. So simply put, those are more long-term assets. We make them to where they're able to be used day one, put to work. Good question.
do you have the option to not pay yourself the loan back and reduce your death benefit?
You do. So the question was, do you have the option to not pay the loan back and just reduce your death benefit? And the answer is yes. Here's the thing, there's a lot of different ways you can go about it, but the point is kind of coming back to that control piece. You have control over how you pay it back. Now, a lot of the strategies that we go through is, if you pay your loan back, what is the benefit? And how do you actually maximize the amount that you're earning by paying your loan back? And there's some strategies behind that. But worst case apocalyptic scenario, like if you're just like, you know what, nope, I'm not going to pay it, then you're secure in making sure that it can come out. Yes, Kaylee.
Question. So, how many policies can I open? Do I have to be 10 days on Social Security?
How many do you want?
Yeah, great question. And Kaylee's a client of ours. She's one of our best clients. So, so they basically, it's kind of morbid, but the insurance company gives you an economic life value. So they put a value on what your life is worth based on how much income you make, your net worth. So, simply put, you can kind of take how many years till 65, how much income you have, and that's kind of your total death benefit. So, it all depends. So the policy is not really how many policies, it's just when you reach that death benefit point. So let's say your economic life value is like 20 million of death benefit. You can have one $20 million death benefit, or you can have multiple until you reach that. Yeah, until you reach that $20 million death benefit. And then to get any more, you would have to have an increase of income and all that.
What is the earliest age a person can take out?
18 days. You have to be 18 days old to be able to have a policy written on you. That's another good question. Any other questions? Oh, yes. So one of the big questions on the IRS tax code, just so y'all know and all the answers, the IRS tax code, people used to buy these policies and put unlimited amounts of cash in, and the government caught wind of it. They're like, hey, we're missing a big piece of the pie. So they actually put a limit. It's called the Modified Endowment Contract, or a MEC. So what he's asking is, do we work with strategically planning on making sure that we don't make the policies? I'll let you answer this.
Yeah, we absolutely. So we make it easy for people. We say, hey, you know, this is kind of a bank. You want to look at saving. How much can you front load this? How much can you save? Then we take that budget and we design a policy that's going to maximize the amount of cash, all based on the MEC limit. There's some tweaks that we can do. We can add a little bit of a term rider to increase that MEC limit, but we got to be careful on making too much additional cash with little base, because you kind of cut your nose off to spite your face. You get a lot of cash in early, but you really reduce the dividends down the road. So we kind of work on a balance. But yeah, we show people to the penny on what the MEC is, and we let them know every single year they're going to have that number that they can put in every year. And also, real quick too, you can't hold that thought. You can't accidentally MEC. So what he's talking about MEC is a modified endowment contract, meaning the IRS allows cash to be put in, but they cap it. If you put over that, it loses all of its tax benefits. That's the IRS. And think about it. If the IRS is saying, hey, you can do that, but only that amount, how much should we want to do, right? That amount, because that's then giving us the tax benefit. There are some estate planning reasons, just for kind of your conceptual knowledge of the policy. There's estate planning of why you would want to MEC the policy and or not care about a MEC. But if you overfund the policy and it becomes a MEC, now it's not easy to do, okay? We've actually had a client accidentally send more money in than what they were over the MEC, and the company will not take it. They have to verbally confirm that, hey, if you put this money in, you will turn it into a modified endowment contract and lose all your tax benefits. And you can say, oopsie, didn't mean to do that. They'll send you the overage and deposit it. So you can't accidentally do it. But there is a buffer, big buffer, but we do center around the design on the MEC. Absolutely. Good question.
All right, so if this is a retirement thing, but if you double your money, right, and you cash out and you want to cash out early, what is there penalties for that?
Yeah.
Or you can keep theoretically reinvesting in assets, but if you want to go, all the things you want in life are assets, but if you wanted to use the cash,
Or if you just wanted to take the cash and run.
Even if you bought a car, you're technically, that through the loan is technically all
So,
covered, right? How does that work?
yeah, so the cash inside of the policy is, I know you mentioned it's for retirement. It could be for retirement, but we are using these. I'd like to think I'm nowhere near retirement age. I'm using mine right now. So you can use the money today. This isn't something you have to wait until retirement. We have a client that started the policy Monday. He's wanting to take the money out like today and tomorrow. So we're already getting that money in and out.
For, let's say, a truck.
If you wanted to borrow it against the truck, you can call. You have two options to take your money. You can call and say, hey, I want to buy this truck, or you don't have to tell them why. You can take it out as a loan or withdraw. So you could go in and say, hey, I want to withdraw this money. They'll send it to you. There you go. You don't have to pay taxes up to your basis, but you never have to pay that money out, right? You never have to pay that back to the company. Now, if you have that 100,000, you take out 70, you're only earning interest on the 30,000 left over. But if you become your own banker and you start utilizing the non-recognized loans, when you take that loan out of 70,000 and you go use it to, I know David used this. He's talked about it with buying a vehicle, right? You're still earning interest on the full 100,000, and that $70,000 loan, you're paying that back at your own discretion.
And all your assets are protected.
Everything inside the policy.
All hidden.
Yes, everything's hidden. So I'll tell you guys, I have two daughters. David has two daughters. I don't fund a 529 plan for my girls, right? Because if they decide to go to college in the future and they're filling out scholarship or FAFSA applications, 529, 401ks, IRAs, all of those funds hurt their chances of getting approved. I can close my vault door and I do not have to disclose a single dollar that's inside of my policy, so it can't hurt their chances of getting approved. So you can hide your assets if you want to, but if you need to show your cards and list your net worth and liquidity, you can use 100% of the cash value on it as well. So that's that control piece.
And to kind of going back to your point a little bit about buying the truck and car. So when you think about becoming a banker, so there's two aspects to your life, right? I don't like the word retirement. There's accumulation and distribution. That's it, right? None of us are actually, well, maybe some of us, but people like us probably will never retire, but it's accumulation distribution. So back to kind of the income and tax-free stuff, right? When you're in accumulation phase, you're being kind of the banker and you want to leverage the cash. So when you're going on when you're doing it for an investment, look at it as using the cash or leveraging the cash to go and invest and earning a rate of return. Also keeping the rate of return intact in the policy. So you're kind of earning two rates of return on the same dollar. So you're making what they call banking arbitrage. Arbitrage is not buying low, selling high. It's making money in two different areas at the same time. Hold that thought. So you're doing that. Now, if you buy an expense, if you use it for an expense, look at it as reducing the overall cost of your expense. So for example, you go to a bank and you say, or a car dealership, say, hey, what's a 60-month car note for, for the amount of this car? And they say, hey, your payments are this amount for 60 months, okay? You could borrow from your cash value policy and go and pay off that car, pay yourself back those monthly payments, and the 60-month might pay off in 51 months. Because if you're counting in the fact that you're still earning a rate of return in the policy. So you can look at it two ways: increasing your profit on investments or lowering your expense on a liability, if that makes sense. And then the last thing I'll say is, like, when we get to the retirement phase, here's my big thing, right? Taxes. What will taxes be in 20, 30, 40 years? Higher, right? Right? If taxes are still status quo and we have all this cost segregation, bonus depreciation, I mean, I got 130% on an RV. I love it on RV park. But anyways, if we have all that and we have the opportunity, we're not going to pull the money out for income. We're going to keep leveraging into passive deals. But what if taxes are crazy? What if we have 70% income tax? We're like France, right? Or no cost ed. Capital gains is 50%, right? And we're just like, you know what? Screw Uncle Sam. Right? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to use my cash as a tax-free income tool, okay? The insurance company, the way they have it set is all your basis is what you put in over the life of the policy. That comes out tax-free anyways, okay? So when you start to pull out income, you get that whole amount tax-free. When you reach your basis, the insurance company automatically switches to loans, okay? So they start giving you loans, which are tax-free. What that does is start drawing down the death benefit. Somebody asked about drawing down the death benefit. That starts drawing down the death benefit. So because when you start with zero cash and you have a death benefit and you grow your cash, so does your death benefit grow, right? So you get your death benefit might start here, so your cash zero, when you get up to here, right? Now you start leveraging your cash. When you use your cash as a drawdown for lifetime retirement income, you never outspend your legacy or your death benefit. So you end up getting tax-free income because when you die, they take the loan amount that you borrowed from the death benefit, but you never outspend the death benefit. It's, it comes down back to where you started just about, but you never outspend it. So you can make it into kind of a self-made tax-free pension at that point, but that's how it functions. No capital gains unless you take the money and run all of it. Unless, if you cancel the policy and you say, hey, give me all of the cash, then IRS is waiting. And they'll say, anything that you grew, anything that was growth is taxed at capital gain. But you wouldn't want to do that, right? You could still just take a loan of all the cash and let it pay out the death benefit. No one would ever take the money and run. It'd be a terrible, terrible decision. So. Great question.
Well, we have one more question. You want to ask, or do we wrap up?
I think we'll wrap it up here. One more thing. But if you guys have questions, they're going to be hanging out here, so please grab them, introduce yourselves, and maybe set up a one-on-one. I have a couple policies with them as well. It's an outstanding tool for leveraging real estate investments. Last thing I just wanted to call out. Round of applause. Last thing I just wanted to say thank you to our sponsors. We have a couple of major sponsors. Worldwide Commercial, they're not listed up here tonight. We got a couple of representatives here in the corner. And Apartment Educators. I just want to pass over to Abel. He's going to give just a 1 minute overview of what Apartment Educators can do about it.
Thank you, David. All right. First, thank you again, David and Erica. Give them a round of applause. Also, David, Robert, Yoshi, and Nick, I heard you were online somewhere. Let's give them a big round of applause. They put a lot of work to make sure everybody comes together on a monthly basis. They've been after this for a little more than a year and a half, couple of years in some instances, and every month they provide an amazing venue, an amazing event, draw an amazing crowd, all for the opportunity to learn something, provide some education, network, and partner with other like-minded individuals. Man, that is amazing. There's a lot of work and effort that goes into it, a lot of money as well on their parts. So not just the hundreds, but there's a comma in it every single month. Just wanted to say thank you again. Give them another round of applause. These guys are crushing it. They made a decision a while back to kind of put everything together. Anybody from San Antonio? Anybody doing deals in San Antonio? Anybody investing in San Antonio? Man, this is not my crowd. I'm in San Antonio. I'm a syndicator, a multifamily operator in San Antonio. Anybody a syndicator in the room? Syndicator, okay, a general partner, an operator, a passive investor, a real estate investor, somewhat, one or the other. Okay, very good, very good. It is my crowd after all. So I've been doing a meetup for about 4 years myself in San Antonio. If you ever connected, go to apartmenteducators.com. You'll see all our events. We do it once a month at Chris Madrid. I know how much time, effort, and energy it takes to put these things together. So we picked up a sponsor. They worked together, and it essentially became one big giant meetup. And then the model ended up working not only in San Antonio, but in Dallas and Houston as well. So if anybody's doing deals in Houston or going out there, there's a monthly meetup, the same mindset, Apartment Educators. There's one in San Antonio. We do those once a month. Write the website down, apartmenteducators.com. And again, my name is Abel Pacheco. I'm the president and principal of Five Talents Capital. So we're investors in about 1,500 doors. We're operators in San Antonio. We do a little bit of capital, a little bit of sponsorship. We're doing a little bit of land and triple net lease. I'd love to connect with you and talk with you as well. We love sponsoring and just wanted to say thank you very much. If anybody's looking for coaching, education, network, meetups, apartmenteducators.com. It's the opportunity in multiple different cities in South Texas. So thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Look forward to networking with you afterwards. Thanks, guys.
Thank you again for coming out. One more quick thing. If everyone wouldn't mind, before you get together, start mingling and start drinking more, let's try to get together for a quick group photo, right? We like to show people what we do and show the value we're adding. So if everybody wouldn't mind just getting together real quick, we'll do a group photo, and then let's start networking and come over and say hi. Thank you again. All right, we're moving forward. Okay, move forward. All right, fill in behind us, please. Fill in behind us. Thank you, thank you.